Good morning, Lex. It's Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. It snowed like crazy here, so that was kind of cool to watch. I did not leave my house. So I have a couple of different things to share with you. There are some really great things coming out on television / the internet, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about a really great book I read, and then we're going to talk about this super awesome project. So let's get started. So the first thing that I want to talk about is The Americans. The Americans is a television series on Fox, and it's new. It just started on the 30th, so if you haven't seen it yet, you're not that far behind. It stars Kerry Russell and Matthew Rhys, who was Kevin on Brothers and Sisters, so if you ever watched that show, he's fantastic. And Kerry Russell is amazing, as we all know. So they play KGB agents who are posing as Americans in the 1980s. And they're a married couple and they have kids. And the first episode is really fantastically done. It's shot well. It's written well. Kerry Russell and Matthew Rhys are fantastic. So I would definitely recommend watching it. You can find it on Hulu. The first episode is just over an hour, and it's really well done, and it's super suspenseful, and the way that they've done it, it makes you want to come back for more. So I'm super excited to see what happens with that show. I think people are really going to love it. So the second show that I want to talk about is House of Cards. So House of Cards is a political drama, but it's streaming on Netflix. And so you can watch all 13 episodes right now if you want to. I think I've gotten through the first 4. And I'm a politics junkie, so obviously that's a huge part of this for me. But it's got Kevin Spacey, Robin Wright, Kate Mara, who was on American Horror Story and is phenomenal. And Kevin Spacey is a senator from South Carolina, or a congressman from South Carolina, and his wife is Robin Wright, and then Kate Mara is a reporter for the Washington Herald. And Kate Mara's character, Zoe, connects with Frank, Kevin Spacey's character, and gets some information from him because he is trying to take some people down within politics. And I don't want to give a lot of it away because it's really cool. And I think that politics junkie or not, you'll enjoy it. So make sure you check that out. It's on Netflix. You can find the link down below. And it's phenomenal. The next thing I want to talk about is a book that I finished this weekend. It's called Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. And I have the book here, but I'm not going to show you the cover because one of the things about this book is that the cover is a trigger warning for people who have self-harmed. And so I'm not going to show you the cover, but I have it because I want to read something from the back. So, but this book is about this young woman named Camille, and she's a reporter in Chicago, and there are 2 young girls murdered in her hometown, and so her boss sends her home to report on it, and she has to deal with being at home and dealing with her mom and dealing with the death of these young women, and it's super intense. It's a thriller novel. Gillian Flynn, if you don't know, also wrote Gone Girl, which is amazing, but is also this really suspenseful mystery thriller novel. So it's in the same vein, I guess. But there's a quote from Stephen King on the back of this book that I think is really indicative of how I felt about the book. So he said, I found myself dreading the last 30 pages or so, but was helpless to stop turning them. Then, after the lights were out, the story just stayed there in my head, coiled and hissing like a snake in a cave. An admirably nasty piece of work elevated by sharp writing and sharper insights. So the book is really well done. Gillian Flynn is an extremely talented writer. I would definitely say check it out. It's called Sharp Objects. This was her debut novel. She's also written Gone Girl, and then she wrote Dark Places, which I have not yet read, but is on my list. So definitely check it out. It is a thriller though, and it's kind of intense, so if you don't like that stuff, you probably shouldn't read it. But I think it's really good, so definitely check that out if you can. And the last thing I want to talk about is something that More Love Letters is doing. So in my first video, I talked about Hannah Brencher, who is the starter of More Love Letters, which is this really amazing organization that sends out love letters. And you can drop them off anonymously in kind of wherever. You can send them to the More Love Letters P.O. box, and they'll send them out in packages. You can go to moreloveletters.com and check out more about it. But what I want to talk about is their Sealed with Love project that they're doing in conjunction with the U.S. Postal Service for February. So they have several different things going on. So they have letter requests like they do every month. And there's two or three people that they're sending letter bundles to. And then they're also accepting letters for troops who are overseas, which I think is really great. They're not for any specific person. They're just for soldiers who are serving our country, which is awesome. And then they set up a stamp with the U.S. Postal Service. It looks like an envelope with a wax seal on it. I bought a bunch of them, so I'm super excited about that. You can check that out. They also have postcards, things like that, that go with this kind of Sealed with Love theme. They're doing a social, what they're calling a social stamp soiree. It's a Sealed with Love social party, so it's on Twitter and Facebook, Tuesday, February 12th from 8 to 10 Eastern. I, unfortunately, will be in class, but that doesn't mean I probably won't be paying attention on Twitter. Let's be real. It's going to be really awesome. It's going to be marathon letter writing and giveaways and lots of social networking stuff. So if you can do that, you should. It's going to be great. And then the other thing that they're doing is they're allowing people to host a love letter writing party, which is something that I'm doing for my orientation counselors. I'm still working out the kinks and the details and waiting for the email from More Love Letters, but I'm going to host a party where we write love letters for my orientation counselors because they're trying to get to know each other, and I think it's going to be a really great way to do that. So make sure you check out moreloveletters.com. The Sealed with Love project the Sealed with Love project is the first thing on the page, so you'll see it as soon as you get there. You can also follow #SealedWithLove, More Love Letters on Twitter. I'll link to all that stuff in the bottom. But there's all kinds of cool stuff going on with More Love Letters, so check that out. That's all I have for you on this beautiful Monday. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will see you on Friday.